Welcome to the Consulting Leaders Podcast, where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Guillaume Jouvencel, ex-PwC and co-founder of GHA Marketing. Join me as I interview the best consultants in their niche. Let's get on with the show. Arron, welcome to Consulting Leaders. Happy to have you.
It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure. Let's jump straight into it. So, what originally pulled you into coaching and leadership development? And the very interesting mix is the fact that you do that alongside your work as a pastor. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I kind of stumbled into it. I was doing some work with couples, and one of my clients ended up becoming a best-selling author and ended up starting a very successful business. And he brought me in to do some of the marriage work that I had done with he and his wife, with his team. And that was about 25 years ago. And that was back in the day when we would do conference calls and all this extra technology wasn't here. And that started, and through word of mouth, I ended up doing a lot of relationship coaching and consulting. And then the longer I worked with couples, that would morph into life coaching or consulting. And then it would morph into often career and business coaching. And I worked with over 5,000 couples. I stopped counting actually about 10 years ago, but in the past 25 years, over 5,000 couples, clients, businesses, and it all started organically, just word of mouth.
I like that. And a client becoming a best-selling author is a pretty solid proof. So what would you say is the number one problem that you help your clients solve today?
Well, I got into this because I kind of stumbled into it, and I got into it because I wanted to be a part of transformation. Mm-hmm. And so to your point, with one of the most common problems, it's actually fourfold. And I find it that people are struggling with identity. And then based on identity, I see that kind of leads to having maybe boundary issues. And then based on that, role issues like confusion about what their role might be in any given situation, whether it be in a relationship or on a team, and then expectations being unclear. And so I have found that so often that paradigm plays out where whether I'm working with a C-suite, someone from the C-suite, or someone in a relationship, or someone starting a business, that I can often trace it back to who are you? Who are you as an individual? Who are you as a couple? Who are you as a company? And if you know who you are, then you have good boundaries. Because if you value something, you put a fence around it. You can't just walk into most successful properties, because where they keep the gold in the United States, you can't just walk into Fort Knox because it's got a fence around it, because they value what's inside. And so if you know who you are, you're going to value yourself and set good boundaries. And I like to remind my clients that a good boundary is not an act of aggression. It's simply designating sacred space. And then I move on to roles. It's like, okay, so who's leading out? Because anything with more than one head is a monster. So in a relationship, on a team, in a company, who's in charge? And is that clear? Mm-hmm. And once again, I always pause, because it can often go back to identity. It's like, well, if you don't know who you are as a company, then you're not going to know who's in charge. You may not even care, because you may be in survival mode. And then expectations speaks to, what's the vision? What's the mission? Is it clear? Is it being communicated, whether it be in a relationship or on a business team? And so I kind of find myself going back to that metaphor a lot. And I talk about it as a table. And that table has to have 4 legs for it to be a place where people can gather, where people can be served, where work can be done, where play can be done, where relationships can grow, because every table becomes organic the more time spent there. But it has to have 4 legs, those 4 legs. And they're not perfect. I like to say 85% is a really good goal. Perfection's an illusion. But it's been my experience that 15% of every company is a crap show. and 50% of every marriage, they don't like each other, and 50% of any organization needs a lot of work. But you get to 85%, you're probably grinding really well and producing the results you want to produce. Yeah, that's kind of the problems in a nutshell. The communication's in there, vision's in there.
So I like that. And maybe to go a little bit further down the rabbit hole, what's the outcome that, having better clarity, having a path towards going from 50% a crap show to 40, and then 33, and then 30, and then 25. What's the benefit of that? Like, isn't it bad to have a little bit of chaos and to have a bit of a crap show? Like, what's the outcome that we help them achieve?
Well, not too much dysfunction is not a good thing. Too much toxicity is not a good thing. And I'm actually a fan of chaos. That I think it's important to have a good relationship with chaos. Chaos has served me well. That being said, if you want to accomplish a vision that thrills you, then there needs to be movement in a clear direction and not a lot of sideways energy. And in my experience, as I own 3 companies right now, and as a business leader and working with other business leaders, we do not like sideways energy. We don't like meetings. we don't want extra meetings. We don't want extra energy going out. So I think, if you can find a way to make chaos your friend, and to use that table metaphor, have chaos sitting there and he or she's hair's messed up and it may be purple and they may be crying and laughing and throwing things and breaking things. But if you can have a good relationship with chaos, it might actually be your superpower. But you can't enable it. You can't become codependent on it. And it definitely can't take away too much energy. I think if the vision is important, then nothing should get in the way of that vision being realized.
Amen. That's something I often say on the podcast. Has nothing to do with, just like.
Does that become a pastor?
Yeah, exactly. Do not take offense, please, Arron.
I'll take an offer if you keep saying amen.
So once we're there, first of all, tell me a bit more about who you help specifically, because I understand you went from couples to leaders to companies. Like, who is it that you help now? Who's the main beneficiary of you helping solving chaos?
Yeah, let me give you a little context too. So I was a Lone Ranger for about 25 years, and I was recruited in the past year to be a part of a professional coaching firm, Novus Global. And I've been with Novus Global, I think there's like 75 coaches right now. I'm in the firm. I've been in the firm since October, and that has really focused my attention. It's really focused my practice. When I started, you're going to think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. When I started the process with Novus Global and started, looking into working with them, I had 75 active clients, and that's too many, way too many. And what happened is, now being in the firm, I've gotten more intentional with my time. And so I'm working with clients. Right now I have 22 clients, and that's a lot. I want to have more, like anywhere from 15 to 20. But I'm working with clients all over the world. I'm working with C-suite officials. I'm working with startups. I'm working with one of my clients is a fitness influencer. I have a fashion influencer. I have a lot of doctors I'm working with and their offices. Just a wide variety, and it's exciting because I'm getting to do a lot of different work. One of my clients is in Ireland, and he is starting as a nonprofit. He's starting a resale clothing coffee shop business, and his goal is to plant churches through that model. And so it was really fun to work with someone in Belfast and help them find a property. And I was just a small part of serving him, but finding a property and getting it going, and seeing it now getting ready to open this spring is very exciting. So I'd say I'm getting a chance to work with men and women, organizations that want to grow, want to accomplish big things that thrill them, things that feel impossible. And it's been really cool to be in a situation, to be in a space where I come from a faith perspective, where I don't believe anything's impossible, to come to the business world and be able to see that translate really well. That people want to believe, whether they have faith or not, they want to believe. They want to know that there's more out there, that they can grow exponentially, that they can reach more people, that they can find ways to save money so they can make a difference. With some of these people want to make money so they can pour into philanthropic activities. So all that's very exciting, but a lot of faith, a lot of seeing impossible things become possible.
I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less of a pastor. That does make sense. Okay, that's going to be an interesting one, because I guess, especially for you, right? And I mean this in a good way. You're going to have some constraints when it comes to marketing, branding, talking about what you do. So how do you market? How do you brand? How do you get the attention of the right people by educating them, making them problem aware, solution aware, taking action, all whilst remaining within the code of the faith and making sure that you do things the way you want them to be? So my question to you, Arron, is how do you market for your very specific niche and values?
Okay. That's a great question, because I used not to market at all. I used to think I was just word of mouth is how my original practice grew. Now what I'm doing is being a part of an established firm, one of the top coaching firms in the world, has allowed me to have some platform and some marketing, but still, like, my website doesn't generate a lot of business. It's out there and it's quality, but most of my marketing is just talking to people, having conversations. I love people. I love being a part of transformation. And so I, every week, have a certain number of vision calls that I want to make. And the basis for those conversations is not trying to sell. The basis for those conversations is catching up, seeing what's going on in life. And honestly, if I am going to start selling, I'm going to sell, hey, I've got 75 coaches that I work with that are world-class men and women leaders. And maybe one of them can serve you. I may not be the right fit. You may not be the right fit for me. But really, I'm just having a lot of conversations. And they're intentional conversations. If I see an opportunity to come alongside them and say, hey, if in 3 months what would it be in 3 months that would thrill you, that would excite you, that would make just change everything about your life as it is now? And sometimes in those conversations, we just have a conversation. Sometimes in those conversations, they're not interested in coaching, and that's fantastic. I approach those from a non-needy perspective, and I'd like to fiercely advocate for people, but I want to fiercely advocate for people who have something they want to accomplish, and they just don't see a way to it. And so for me, it's having those conversations, getting to know people, seeing where they're at, and if it's appropriate, saying, hey, have you thought about what it might be like to not just make $1 million in the next quarter, but to make, what is that number? What is the number that would thrill you? 5 million? Okay, 5 million. What would it take to get to 5 million? Would that thrill you? Well, let's talk about what it might look like for me to advocate for that vision, and to come alongside you and hold your arms up as you reach that vision, or sit in the passenger seat with a map and help you reach your vision. So for me, the marketing has been simply just reaching out to people and having conversations, and hopefully renewing current clients, which is, I think, is a sign of health, that they saw value and they want to continue working with me. But marketing is just going, constantly having a list of people I'm trying to reach out to and have conversations with. And I was talking to a client this morning, and they were asking about almost the same question. And I said, I think everybody is a client. Everybody's a potential client. Sit next to me in an airplane, I want to talk to you about, hey, what are your dreams? What are your visions? And if it comes up in a way that's not weird or creepy or has commission breath, I will, hey, what would it look like if that Because one of the things that we really work on with Novus Global is pushing past this intuitive fence. We all have this intuitive fence. Our brain is designed to play it safe, right? And so what would it look like to go beyond your intuitive fence? And so if I was working with you and you were like throwing out a number or a metric, I would push on it. I'd say, hey, is that the number? What would be the number that would throw you? If you saw me 3 months from now, you'd be like, Chambers, like working with you was so life-changing because this happened. What is that? Even if it's irresponsible. And man, that's a long answer to your question, but that's what marketing looks like. I have a website and it's good and I'm proud of it. It's, it serves me really well, but my practice is continuing to grow, just word of mouth and finding that yes in the world of no's. Just having conversations with people and see if it might be a good fit. Because honestly, not everybody's a good fit.
It's a long-winded answer, but it is a valuable one. So I'm fine with this. And I'm actually going to, so I love this. I think we really see the evolution, the journey, the scale. I have one specific question I want to ask you, Arron, because I'd say easily 80% of the people I interview on this show, maybe now 60, 70%, only rely on referrals.
Only rely on what?
Only rely on referrals. So people referring them. And when asked, what's the next thing? Like, what's the goal? Oh, I want to grow, I want to scale. But they really struggle to see that this is not going to happen relying on referrals. You can stay steady with referrals, but it's hard to scale. Like, it's great because it means that you deliver good work, so people like refer you. Mm-hmm. But then to take that next level of growth is usually, it's hard to do only in referrals. What made you go from that, because you were relying on referrals, to joining that bigger coaching group and accessing a whole different world? But like, what made you do the switch? What made you think I need to, keep delivering exceptional work so that I get referrals, mm-hmm. but also think about my marketing, think about my acquisition, think about a process that will get me leads and therefore clients?
So for me, it was really the pivot from going from being me to we. Working with a team now, I will go in conversations and my posture is not to sell my services. My posture is, hey, we could serve you. Like, we could serve you. And it's in our world, we really celebrate sharing and saying, hey, I may not be a really good fit. Like, I may not be worth $5,000 a month to you right now, but I know someone who is. And could I set up a meeting? I'm really, in this new year, one of the things I'm really leaning on is I want to give away 20 clients this year. Just give them away. Because in our world, that is something that means a lot, and it's celebrated and it builds trust. But I have really, I'm in this space right now where I have a lot of work. I'm very busy. I have I own several businesses, but I also am full-time pastor at a growing church, and I have a thriving coaching business. And so for me, I just want to, like, this is what I got into. Why I got into it, I want to serve people. So for me, it's that pivot of doing it more as a team. That's the beautiful thing about being a part of Novus Global, is everything is team, and we celebrate working together. We celebrate sharing. We celebrate going into situations not by yourself. I'm working with two companies this month, and I'm going in with a team of people, and I'm not even hired. I'm not being paid. I'm coming at my own expense, just because I want to be a part of the group. I want to continue to learn and grow, because I know that's going to serve me well moving forward. But right now, I am getting, I have a few clients that came by way of referral, but honestly, most of my clients right now are coming from having these conversations like, how might we serve you? Oh, this might be a good fit for you. Okay, let's see if it's a good fit for me. And if it is, then we move it to the next level. But I really, right now, my practice is full. And besides a couple of corporate agreements that I'm pursuing right now, I'm really right now trying to refer to other people. Because I really do believe in this space where we're coaching and consulting. I think it's the beauty of this space is that the more I really, it's counterintuitive. I think the more we share, the more we give away, the more comes back to us. And I love being around coaches who are doing the we game and are interested more in like, what can we accomplish together?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love this. And so, first of all, disclaimer, 100%, I think you should still have rely on referrals in the sense of you still want to create that compounding engine that gets you more people like the ones you've helped.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reflection of your good work. I think being intentional about it is great. But yeah, I like the journey into, okay, how do we have more of those conversations? How do we, get in front of more potential clients that we can help? And if not, maybe we can help them in any other way for free with free resources or pointing them in the right direction. I like this being value-based on the approach. Tell me more about how you go from this, Arron, to a closed deal. Can you tell us about your sales motion? Like, how do you go from an initial conversation, from that problem solution awareness to an SOW, a letter of engagement and an actual client?
Yeah. So if I have a conversation with somebody and it feels like it might be a good fit for both of us, then I will set up a vision call. And a vision call will be 45 minutes, at the minimum 45 minutes. And in that call, we'll just talk life. We'll talk dreams. We'll talk vision. And if we can find a vision that, for me, it's all about advocating for their vision. People want to invest in their vision. They're not going to invest in us necessarily. I want them to invest in a vision. And so if we can align around a vision that like, hey, this is powerful, then what we can do is we can say, we're going to work that vision. We're going to advocate for that vision. I have some tools that I use that are very precisely identify the outcomes and then sprint visions towards those outcomes. And so in that vision call, we'll start playing with that a little bit and say, okay, so is this the vision? Okay. What are some irresponsible ways you might get to that vision? And then as we're doing this, we're just dreaming. I truly believe they're the resource. And what we're trying to do is unlock the resource within them to accomplish that vision. I will also do something I call sell the waterfall, which is a tool that I picked up from an old camp manager. And he was trying, I'll tell you the story because I think it's worthwhile, and I'll make it quick. He was a new camp manager years ago. And he was giving me some advice because at the time I was working at a college and I had to recruit a certain number of students and it was a lot of pressure. And he said, well, let me tell you how it worked for me. He said, I was a new camp director. I needed 20 canoes. I couldn't get money for canoes. I was doing fundraising, could not get money for enough. I couldn't get enough money for one canoe. He said, so one day I was going to a church to speak on behalf of the camp. And I changed my tactic. I stood up in front of the people and I said, our camp is close to a river. And what I want to do this summer is I want to take some inner city kids down the Peace River in some canoes. We'll stop a couple hours down the river and we'll have lunch and the kids will play in the water. And then we'll pack up the canoes again and we'll go about another 45 minutes down the Crystal River. And we're going to come around a bend. And when we come around that bend, there's a waterfall. And these kids from downtown Orlando, these kids from downtown Tampa are going to play in a waterfall. Will you help me let those kids play in a waterfall? He said he got enough money for 40 canoes that Sunday. And he said this, he said, I stopped selling canoes and I started selling the waterfall. So what I do in my calls is I get to a point where I sell the waterfall. Like this can happen. You imagine what it would be like so as I listen to my client talking, so what you're telling me is that you would have more freedom and that you actually could work remotely and you could spend more time with your kids and that sounds thrilling. Is that thrilling? Yes, that's thrilling. Well, what would it look like for us to work together for the next 6 months to see that become a reality? Because here's what's going to happen, Guy. I'm going to fiercely advocate for your vision. I'm going to fiercely advocate for your vision, and we're going to see it come to life. Like we're going to sell the waterfall. And then if they're interested, then we, right now I do 6 months, the minimum 6-month agreement. And we will, I will share what it costs to work with me. And that is a period of 6 months. And the rhythm that we use is 3 45-minute sessions a month for at least 6 months. Longer if they want, but I like to start with 6. It gives us a chance to kind of get some significant work done. And if it's a good fit, then we continue working together. But that's kind of the process, and I will get a contract and agreement in their hand right away. I like working with agreements. I know some coaches don't, some consultants don't. I get that. I like it because it's accountability, and one of our key principles is ownership. We want people to have ownership of their life and take responsibility for their life, and it's a way for us all to take ownership. And I will say this too. I didn't speak to this earlier. We love feedback. And so part of my feedback after every session, I solicit feedback through an app we use. And one of the questions on there is there somebody else who could benefit from this kind of coaching? So, but that's kind of in a nutshell, that's how it works. And then we'll get going, and then we'll do an onboarding call, which is free, and then jump into it. And 18 sessions over 6 months. And always checking in. One of the unique things we do in our work is we work in the area of integrity as well. So there'll be commitments that they will make, and we will check in on commitments, on broken commitments every single session. And not from a moral perspective, just from an accountability perspective. And if a broken commitment exists, fantastic. It's an opportunity for growth. How can we grow from this?
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give another one. Amen.
Amen. All right. Dude, one more amen, and I'm taking an offering, man. I'm telling you, I'm passing the plate.
One of the other things that you mentioned, Arron, is that you are at full capacity right now, which is the dream of a lot of B2B coaches and consultants. Mm-hmm. So in order to be at full capacity, well, you need to have a reliable acquisition channel, obviously, mm-hmm. but you also need to have good retention. Right? You need to make sure that people, once they start engaging with you, they're like, this is good. And like, my next problem is this, and I also need help. And this is how you get the snowball effect of like a growing coaching business. What are your mechanisms and methods to, once you start an engagement and deliver like the initial value, you keep on, providing value to the clients so that they have a reason to pay you, and so that you have a reason to, keep on working with them? How do you do that?
Great question. Well, first of all, we have very clear metrics we're looking at constantly. There's a board that I offer them, and on this board, they're constantly seeing where we're at in relation to outcomes, where we're at as far as sprint visions and commitments. So we're constantly checking in there. But I'm renewing from session one. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm constantly renewing. And what that looks like is like, hey, well, in this season of coaching, hey, let me just check in. We're about 3 months from the end of this agreement. And I will coach you differently if we're going to be offboarding. I'm hoping we don't. I feel like we've done some significant work. And so I'm constantly having I'm having the renewal conversation right off the bat, constantly having that conversation. But what we're doing, they see real results. I have a high retention rate. I have a high level of renewals. Honestly, all my current clients are renewing. Some of my original clients, it was me kind of figuring things out in this new space, and I just wasn't really good. And so I don't blame them for not renewing, but I'm seeing a high level of renewals, and it's because we're seeing tangible results that are measurable, that are thrilling, that also feel impossible. We're creating an atmosphere where there's a high level of ownership, high level of integrity. And so we're keeping the results there. There's a high level of integrity, no chit chat. We're working very diligently towards their vision. And I'm constantly casting the vision for what could be next. One of my clients works in the fashion world, and she had very specific results. We hit those results in 3 weeks, and we got a 6-month agreement. So we're working towards what's next. But I am fiercely advocating for my clients, and their vision becomes like my obsession. And my experience has been that when that's the reality, they want to keep working with you. They want to tell their friends about you. but they want to see more of that. It becomes very tangible results. And like I said, I'm being more intentional in this space than I used to be when I was working with 75 active clients, and we would have vague results. I thought we had a lot of good results, but nothing measurable. And right now, if you were working with me, we could have something we could look at. It's like, on this date, this was the outcome we established, and here we are in relation to that outcome. And that's going to thrill you. You're going to say, this is well worth my investment.
Yeah.
And plus, I come full participation. Like, I fully participate in our sessions. I'm fully engaged. I show up on time. We give you your money's worth. They give you more than your money's worth. Like I said, it's a season of coaching, so my clients can reach out to me in between sessions. I love that because I get to celebrate with them. I had one client. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. I had one client, and she said, I said, what would thrill you over the next month going into Christmas? She's like, if I had 5 new clients. No, she said, if I had a couple new clients. I said, but it's Christmas and no one wants to sign up. I said, what if that's wrong? What if they do? What if this is the best time to get clients? And after 45 minutes, we had a conversation, and she decided she was going to go for 5 clients in December, when she normally shuts down. Each of those clients represents probably several $1,000s easily. Plus, you know how cool it was to get these texts from her? Got 1. I'm up to 2. I'm up to 4. In like December 27th, I'm at 5. I was like, yes, that's so cool. People want that. People want someone who believes in them and who releases the power within them, the potential within them. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm just asking questions. I'm curious, and I want them to be curious. But I think that's my long answer to you. I feel like I'm answering all your questions really, really in a wordy way. So, but I love this space. I love consulting. I love coaching, and that for me, that's what leads clients to want to renew and to tell their friends. And I mean, renewals are more income. Like if you're going to renew with me, it's going to be more. And I will, if it was a 3-month contract, I'm pushing for 6 months, because sometimes I'll do that just to build some accountability, some experience with them. I was like, hey, can we try 3 months?
Yeah.
But renewals are, but that for me, that's been the soil from which renewals grow.
Mm-hmm. I love this. I didn't say the other thing. See, I'm respectful of what you want.
You can say it. It's all good. I love it.
So one of the things I just want to mention here is, and it's more personal, right? I don't think this is going to bring specifically anything to the B2B coaches and consultants, but like for what we do, right? So now it's like clockwork. Like, we know how to make it work. We know we get the results and so on. It's like the closed deals is nice and so on. The onboarding is nice. But when you get that text from the client who is like, hey, I just achieved XYZ. I'm like so pumped. This I cannot get enough of. I like every time just thinking about it, I'm like, I have a little chills. Like I think also as a coach and consultant, the more you do it, the more you get used to it, right? And it's like you tend to lose the first time effect, obviously. But being genuinely happy when your clients are communicating to you their results is, I mean, there are some sensations that are better in the world, of course, but that would be for another podcast. But this is definitely top 3. Arron, this was an absolute masterclass. Thank you so much for coming on Consulting Leaders. If people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
They can go to my website, arronchambers.com, 1A, 2 R's, ARRON chambers.com. And I am on social media, on Instagram, Coach Arron Chambers, spelled ARRON. And they can reach out to me there, and that'd be fantastic.
We'll put all the links in the description. For what I'm concerned, Arron, you've gained at least 1 new connection on LinkedIn out of this. Me, I just added you. Thank you so much for coming on Consulting Leaders.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders Podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.